Hi, this is the host of Bravo's Celebrity Poker Showdown and professional poker player, Phil Gordon. Thank you for joining me for my 2005 World Series of Poker podcast, brought to you by ExpertInsight.com. My new poker instructional DVD is available exclusively online at ExpertInsight.com. Get the DVD and get inside the mind of a pro. You only see my hole cards as I play at the final table, but you hear each and every thought I have while making winning decisions at No Limit Texas Hold'em. And now, from the Rio in Las Vegas, the 2005 World Series of Poker. All right, I'm down to the World Series of Poker today. I'm not playing. Today is the $1,500 buy-in, 7-stud high-low. I'm sitting with one of the best players in the world in that game, Cloutier. TJ has made it to day 2 of the $5,000 No Limit, and he is in 4th chip position with 96,000. TJ, you said that you were short stacked basically all day until the last 2 hours of the tournament. How'd you get from 14,000 to 96,000 in 2 hours?
I finally held a couple hands, got some action with it. I just held kings in a good spot, and then I held tens, and then I held aces, and then I held ace queen. In the 2 hour period, and all 4 of them won.
All 4 hands held up, yeah. And sometimes you get a lot more action when you're short stacked, right? I mean, people think that you're desperate and you can move in with your kings and they're going to call you with their ace-5 and ace-7. And, you know, it's sometimes easier to accumulate chips when you have a small stack than it is when you have a big stack.
The final hand was against Renee Angeli.
Yep.
Celine Dion's husband.
Yeah.
And he had 27,000 or so, and he made it a raise. And it was already announced the last hand of the night. And he got around, he was in the first position, he got around to me, and I just moved him in. I knew I had to press.
What'd you have?
And I had ace queen is all. But
yeah.
he said, oh heck, he says, I'll either try and double up or not have to come back tomorrow. So he just pushed it all in, and he had king 10.
Oh.
And he caught a 10 on the flop. I caught an ace down the river.
All right.
That was it. That moved me from 70 something.
I've noticed that on the last hand before the evening, people either are playing very recklessly, trying to get some chips before they go home, or playing very tight.
Well, I'll tell you, I won the last hands for 40 years going into the breaks. I usually win the last hand.
I try to win that last hand too, because I find like people are trying to get up. They want to get up and go to the bathroom or tell their friends about a bad beat. Yeah. Very often, no matter what my 2 cards are on the very last hand before break, I'm going to raise it and try to pick up the blinds.
Me too.
Yeah.
Been doing it for years and years and years.
And unless they pick up a really great hand, they're not going to play back at you because they just want to get up and go to the bathroom.
You don't do anything crazy. You make a little raise or something. You're not going to lose a lot of
2.5 times a big blind.
Yeah.
And you've been doing it for 40 years.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot of chips you've stolen over those 40 years. Today is the 7-stud high-low, and I know you're not playing, but you are widely respected as one of the best players in the world in this game. What are some of the common mistakes that people can make in 7-stud high-low?
They play sucker hands.
And what are some sucker hands?
Well, you get in there with anything that's got an 8, a 9, or 10 in it.
Right.
They're not very good for high, and they're definitely not good for low. So you play, they'll play 2 good cards or 1 bad card. Where this is. So you got to have either 3 high cards, a pair and a straight or something high, or 3 low cards.
Right.
You don't want to be a mixture of cards in this game. But if I had to tell a new player to learn a game that he can make money at, I'd tell him to learn stud 8 or better, because there's more mistakes made in this game than any other game there is.
That and Omaha, it seems to me. Omaha 8 or better, yeah. That seems to be
Omaha high is too volatile.
No, but Omaha 8 or better seems to be another game that people.
The split games.
They regularly play hands with 8s and 9s and 10s in them, and
they play hands like 3, 4, 5, 6.
Right.
I think they've got a low hand, and that's a sucker hand.
Right.
You gotta have ace deuce in your hand. I mean.
Right.
Let's face it.
There are very few hands in Omaha 8 or better that I think are playable that don't contain an ace.
Right.
Would you agree with that?
I agree with you 100%. Unless you got something like
King, Queen, Jack,
or 10, Jack, Queen, or something like that. You know, 4 cards that work together high. Because there's a lot of times people don't qualify for low.
Right. So when you come in today, you've got a big chip lead. You've got more than double the average. Do you make any strategic changes to your game when you've got a big chip lead, or you just play ABC still and just try to look for spots?
I never play my game look for spots.
Right, but you don't go out of your way to. You don't go out of your way to play more pots than normal.
No, I'm going to play every player individually, and I know how they all play anyway, but the idea is I'm going to play how they're playing that day. That's the difference.
I see.
People like a lot of your semi-pros and some young pros, they'll come up and they say, well, I know this guy does this and this guy does that. But the guy might be doing something different that day. And you got to play how they're playing that day and be able to recognize that. And that separates the men from the boys.
TJ, you've won more major titles than pretty much any poker player in the world. Who do you think, outside of not including yourself, name the top 3 No Limit Hold'em tournament players in the world in your estimation?
Phil Hellmuth. You got to give him credit for it. I mean, he acts like an idiot, but he's right there. He's right there. I mean, see, now you're talking about tournament players.
No Limit Hold'em tournament players, best 3 in the world. Phil Hellmuth on the list?
Yeah, for sure. See, a lot of people don't agree with and think the way I think. I think Ben Roberts from England,
great player,
is a great player. I think you're a great player, but
I'm not anywhere near the top 30. So
I don't know about the top 30. You're definitely in the top 30, but Doyle Brunson, when he wants to play, is right there. Johnny Chan is right there. I mean, when they want to play.
How do you explain the fact that Johnny Chan hasn't made televised poker tournaments? You know, the final table very often in the first 3 seasons of the World Poker Tour or the World Series of Poker for that matter.
Too much money right now.
He does.
Yeah. And he's more interested in playing in the side action and his investments and stuff.
Okay.
But don't ever think that he can't play, because he can flat play.
No, I played with him at the $25,000 buy-in event at the Bellagio, and it was nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not so. Luckily, he was on my right, but I was shaking in my boots every time I got into a pot with him.
I'll tell you a guy that a lot of people on there, they always forget him because he's so laid back. Eric Seidel is fabulous.
Yeah, well, he's great at all games, right?
Well, it's still his best game is No Limit Hold'em.
Right. What do you think about is Daniel's obviously had a lot of success
Daniel's
recently?
Good all around, and he should be rated right up there too.
Okay.
But would I rate him in the top 3 No Limit Hold'em players? No.
Okay.
But do I rate him in the top 3 all around poker players? Definitely.
Okay.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
See, I tend to forget some of the young guys, and I shouldn't. But Daniel's a great player all around now, and he just has a style in No Limit Hold'em in tournament play, where he loves to play those connectors and stuff, and a lot of times they'll get in trouble. Now, if they're working that day, then he's awesome.
Watch out, yeah.
But it's not. When I rate him on consistent basis. What they're going to do over time.
What year was the first year you played in the World Series of Poker?
1984.
How many players were entered?
100 and something.
100 and something.
Yeah.
And you finished.
85. I finished second.
You finished second in '85, and then you finished second again in 2001. 2000.
I finished
so Chris
second,
Ferguson.
Yeah, and then I finished 5th in '88, and 3rd in '98.
Wow. So you've been to the final table 4 times?
Final 5 4 times.
Oh my goodness.
But I haven't won it.
Yeah. But would you consider that? I mean, everyone knows that you're one of the greatest players, tournament players, and players of all time. But would you rate that as like one of the biggest disappointments in your life?
It is
not
the
having
biggest
one?
disappointment.
You had them almost all in 2000 against Chris Ferguson. You had Ace Queen and you had Ace 9, and Chris got a little lucky on you. I know that I dream about the hand that I busted out of the World Series in 2001 in 4th place pretty much every week.
Yeah, I don't.
You know, it doesn't bother you at all?
I'll tell you why, because it's funny, but as soon as that tournament was over, I played another No Limit tournament, and I had a guy dead to a 9 with one to come head up, and he caught it. Then we went to the Tournament of Champions, was the next one, and I had Brian Saltis dead to a 9 with one to come for the championship, and he caught it. So there was 3 of it happening in a row for me. There was over $2 million in my pocket.
Oh.
So how can you sit back and say anything? You know, I mean, that's just the way the cards ran. I mean, I played great in all of them. So I think the best poker I ever played in my life was against Ferguson head up when he had 11-1 chip lead on me, and I took the lead from him.
Yeah. No, that's well. Stranger things have happened, but what you know, I really respect your opinion. What improvements can I make in my game? I mean, you've seen me play. We played together quite a bit over the course of the last year and a half. And if you could give me like 2 things that I can do to improve my game, what would they be?
Sometimes you call with hands, or raises with hands you shouldn't call raises.
Okay.
A little bit. You have hands that you can call, that you can make raises with, that you can't call raises.
Okay. So I need to practice the gap concept a little bit better.
It can burn up a lot of money. And other than that, that plus you get a little baby sizzle sometimes. You got a little bit of a temper.
I do tilt, I got to admit it.
And it's not that you tilt for long. You don't tilt 15 minutes or like Benetti or Phil.
Right.
But you do have like a 2-minute tilt.
A 2-minute tilt period, yeah. Well, both of those are very accurate.
And myself, and there's one thing they can't say. They never see me going.
No. Absolutely not. Even when Ferguson spiked the 9 on you on the river, you handled it like a true gentleman.
But I mean that's just practice.
All right. Well, I'm getting better at it. I made one of those fundamental mistakes yesterday.
You know the game as good as anybody.
I made one of those fundamental mistakes yesterday. I had 8,500 in chips, and a guy raised from under the gun with he had like 3,000 in chips. He raised under the gun. He made it 600, 800, something like that. He made it 800 to go, and everyone folded me in the small blind and had ace queen off suit. And this is one of those very, very difficult situations in no limit hold'em.
And you had to act first after the flop.
I'm going to have to act first after the flop, and I don't really like playing out of position. So my theory when I'm playing out of position is I want to try to win the pot before the flop when I'm out of position.
So you came back over the top.
So I came back over the top, and of course he had ace king, and I got pot committed and had to call him. Have you ever folded ace queen in the small blind for a raise?
Yeah, I know. I've played it strong and folded. It's just different now how I'm playing that player, that's all.
Against this guy, it was an easy fold, and I got seduced by the 2 face card, by the ace in the face. And it happens a lot, but that's one thing, and you just pointed out that I can definitely do to improve. I'm going to work on that.
Just you be the breaker. You don't want. There's an old saying: a better be, a caller never be.
Right.
So if you got the ace queen, you want to be dictating the action with the ace queen instead of calling the action.
A better play with my hand there, if I'm going to play the ace queen, is the stop and go play, right?
Yeah.
I go ahead and I call the pre-flop raise, and then when the flop comes 3 rags, I go ahead and lead half the pot and make him make a decision with his ace king.
Right.
That's a much better play.
Much better.
But moving all in there is just that was a rookie play I made yesterday. Maybe I'm a little tired. Maybe a
rookie play, but
it's a no-win kind of play.
In the long run, it's a no-win situation.
Right.
Because if you'll do it with them, you'll do it with somebody else, and you might be against somebody that knows you'll do it.
Right.
And you're taking the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
So the idea is that you want to always keep them on the defensive, and you don't want to ever be put on the defensive.
Right. All right, TJ, we'll let you go. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it, and good luck today.
All right, kiddo.
All right, down with Chris Ferguson, who just came in second in the Omaha pot limits. How much do you win, Chris?
210,000.
Well, that's not anything to feel bad about, right?
No, not at all. I'm very happy. I got to keep up with Eric. He won 600,000. Got to chip away at him 200,000 at a time.
200,000 at a time, right? Now, pot limit Omaha is a very volatile game.
Yeah.
How many times would you predict over the course of the entire tournament were you all in and needing to suck out?
Once.
Only one time in the entire tournament?
Last hand, and I couldn't do it.
Wow.
I think
that's pretty impressive.
I'm not so sure about that.
How many times were you all in when your opponent had a really good chance of sucking out?
Yeah, that's probably pretty often there.
Yeah.
3 or 4 times. Once or twice I had a really dominating. It's hard to have a really dominating hand in pot limit Omaha.
Yeah, it is. So what are you off to do tonight? Besides celebrate?
Eat and celebrate. Would you like to come with us?
Yeah.
All right.
I think so. Where are you going?
We're going to Ruth Chris.
Who's coming?
I don't know. Whoever
Perry and others. Perry's coming. All right.
Whoever wants to come. Yeah.
Ruth Chris. Where's that?
It's just past, I don't even know where the hell it is.
All right, we're going to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. I'm going with Chris Ferguson. I'm going to check in with Rafe real quick. He's still on the 7-stud high-low. But congratulations, Chris. Second place.
Thank you so much.
Almost a bracelet.
I'll take it.
Give me half a bracelet.
Yeah.
Like I said before, the world of professional poker is like a big fraternity. Whenever one of your friends does well, it's traditional to take everyone out for dinner. So going to go join Chris as soon as I find out how Rafe's doing in the 7-stud high-low. Second place, that's, I believe, his second place finish in the last couple of years. So if you award him half a bracelet for each second place finish, he now has 7 bracelets. Otherwise, just 6. Really unlucky, Chris. All right, this is the final update for the day. Rafe has about 7,000 or 8,000 in the $1,500 buy-in, 7 stud high-low. There are 148 players remaining. Looks like the 5,000 no limit is down to about 30. Some great players left. TJ Cloutier, who we interviewed earlier today, is up over 200,000 and is a clear chip leader. I'm going to dinner with Chris Ferguson. I'll be back tomorrow for the next event at the World Series of Poker. Thanks for tuning in. See you tomorrow.
Thanks for joining me for the 2005 World Series of Poker from Las Vegas. This podcast was brought to you by ExpertInsight.com, home of my poker instructional DVD. Get inside the mind of a pro at the final table at www.expertinsight.com. Tune in tomorrow for more stories, interviews, fun, and insight into the world of professional poker. For ExpertInsight.com, this is Phil Gordon from Las Vegas, Nevada.